Welcome, everyone. My name is Sam Liggett. I'm a senior corporate recruiter here with Beacon Hill. I manage our entry level hiring for the Southeast region. I'm really excited to chat today with a couple of our distinguished Alabama alumni about their careers in staffing.
My name is Joe Cox. I'm the division director for Beacon Hill Technologies here in Nashville, Tennessee. I actually graduated from Alabama in 2008 with a major in communications and a minor in political science.
Chelsea Lee, and I am the division manager for Atlanta Legal. Graduated in 2015 from Alabama. I was a double major in communication studies and American studies. I was pre-law.
So I graduated in 2016 from Alabama. I was a political science major and international studies minor.
My name is Jess Arias, and I'm a staffing consultant for the technology division. And I graduated from Bama in 2018. I'm in the Tampa location, and my major was public relations with a minor in Spanish.
I'm an account executive with Beacon Hill. I sit in the New York City office. I've been in the staffing industry for about 6 years now. I graduated from Alabama in December of 2014 with a major in health studies.
What got you into staffing? How does it relate to your undergraduate experience at Alabama, whether it be related to the classroom or related to one of the different organizations you were a part of?
I've been in the industry for about a decade or over a decade now. To be honest with you, I just kind of fell into it. I interviewed with my previous firm. They called me out of the blue, and I went in. I was working in healthcare sales here in Nashville. And went in and they told me what it was all about. And I really liked the idea of, working directly with clients and consultants within the IT industry. 10 years ago, the IT industry was really starting to kind of explode here in Nashville. And so I wanted to get in, I guess you could say, on the ground floor. So I just took a leap of faith and ran into the industry. And then 3 or 4 years after that, I joined Beacon Hill and opened the office here.
So I was pre-law at Alabama, and at the last minute when I was studying for the LSAT, I decided that I wanted to take a year off and work at a law firm. I didn't really know what staffing was. I applied to Beacon Hill Staffing Group, or Beacon Hill, and I just thought Beacon Hill was a law firm. I didn't really know. And I went in to interview I interviewed with now one of my colleagues, Kristen Guyton. She's a perm recruiter here. And I went out that day and interviewed to be a receptionist at a real estate law firm. And then the same day, an internal recruiter at Beacon Hill put in her 2 weeks. And so they called me back and asked me to come and interview for the job at Beacon Hill. So I did that. I just kind of fell into it. I recruited for 3 years. And then 2 years ago, I made the switch to sales. So that's how I got here.
I fell into staffing while I myself was on the job market. I really was unhappy at my current job, and I was getting reached out to by a recruiter and talking to them. And then finally one day I kind of flipped this switch and was like, wait, so you find people jobs for a living? And she was like, yeah. And I was so interested just because in that moment it was taking over my life, how much I did not like my job. And then I realized how helpful I could be finding people something they love to do every day.
A little bit more about specifics. I would love for Sarah, if you could you tell us a little bit more about your role specifically at Beacon Hill and sort of what you do on a day-to-day basis?
Definitely. So I just started at the end of August. So I don't have a tremendous amount of success stories yet. But for me, I'm an account executive. So I'm on the finance and accounting side. In accounting and finance industry. So every day I am trying to stir up new business. So I reach out to potential clients either via LinkedIn. I look to see if other clients in the New York City area are hiring. So say if I'm looking for a staff accountant, I'm looking at these different companies. I cross-reference that company into either our system eRecruit, or I go through our different job boards and kind of look, see if I could kind of see if anyone else on our team has reached out to them, if we have any sort of connections via LinkedIn. And then I will reach out to the different contacts, hiring managers, controllers, directors of finance of that company, and see if they have any potential hires. A lot of them don't have any needs right now. A lot of those companies have needs down the road. So I just kind of plant a seed, and sometimes they have a maternity leave, they need someone to cover, and they haven't had any luck internally recruiting for them. So I reach out to these companies, seeing if they need help with their potential new hires, and that I have my recruiters, if I bring in a job, I have my recruiters fill those positions. So I'm on the temp side. So these positions will go from either 12 weeks, 36 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, just kind of depends. But a lot of them can convert to perm. So I reach out to these companies and bring in the business, and the recruiters fill the job.
Julia, how about you? Do you have a success story, or could you tell us a little bit more about sort of your role and what you do on a day-to-day basis?
Sure. So I am a creative recruiter. So pretty much I'm the opposite of what Sarah does. I try and fill the roles that the account executives bring in. So a lot of my role, kind of what Sam was saying about the relationship building on the sales side, I do it on the recruiting side. So I might reach out to a candidate who I think's a great fit, but maybe the money's not where he wants it or she wants it to be. But 3 months down the road, I find a great role that's a perfect fit. It's all about the relationship building. There are times where I have placed somebody who becomes a hiring manager at a company, and then they give us another role. So there's definitely successes, whether it's finding the right person the first time for the job, and having it be an easy process. Maybe it's building your pipeline and building those relationships and finding that perfect role for your person who can get a job.
Getting into staffing and sales, like for candidates that are interested in opportunities with Beacon Hill, Chelsea, if you could you tell us a little bit more about sort of the training process and what that looks like with Beacon Hill internally? Like how would you describe that for yourself and also for your team?
Yeah, so I think every division kind of has their own processes for training. And I have, I was trained as a recruiter, and then now I went through the sales training too. So I've had two different experiences. And with recruiting, I think it's a lot. I love just how collaborative everyone at Beacon Hill is. So I think one of the best things, and now even with my team, I have 3 recruiters who I manage, and with them as well, they can pick up the phone. They're in Atlanta, but they'll pick up the phone and call a senior recruiter in Chicago who's been doing this for 8 years and ask, how are you successful? What did you do in this situation? And that was something that for me, when I started doing sales, that was really helpful too. I would call, someone in New York who's been doing this for 20 years and say, I don't know what to do in this situation. How do I talk to this client? And so I think that was something that was really helpful for me. And I've seen it with the recruiters on my team as well, just how collaborative the training is, just being able to talk to anyone in any office, and someone's always willing to help. No matter what time of day it is, someone is always willing to help you, which I think is great. And now we have a mentor program, so that's really helpful too. We'll pair, one of my recruiters sits in Nashville, and she was a recent college grad, so she was paired with someone who's really senior and has been doing this for a long time, and they would have a phone call like once a week.
Where we have 7 different lines of businesses within Beacon Hill Staffing Group. Each line of business trains their people in different ways. Taking that down to the technology division, some offices train a little bit differently than other offices. So like here in Nashville, if I hire a salesperson, I will train them here in the office for two solid weeks, and then I'll be shadowing them for at least their first 6 months to a year on all their client meetings. And then on the recruiting side, I have a senior managing consultant that reports directly to me, and she leads our recruiting team. So she would be in charge of training that new person. But on top of that, within our region that Nashville sits in, we also do a separate training class on top of all the in-office training that we do here in Nashville, So that training class size is typically about 3 to 4 people. And you're being trained by, senior individuals, not only within the company, but most importantly in the industry.
Your favorite part of the job when it comes to the day-to-day, what you love about your career?
I've been super interested in IT lately, obviously getting all these racks. I do enjoy just getting down and actually talking to the consultants about what they do. You'd be surprised on the amount of hard work they put in IT, especially since IT, it's going to be the future. So it's super cool. They have patients who tell you what they do day to day. And, every day I'm learning something new, as well as, being in the office. Obviously, when we were in the office, it's just the team morning meetings. It's very motivational. Like Joe said earlier, they're not just invested in you, they're invested in like everybody in the team. So I think it's really neat. We just kind of help each other out in the mornings, wake up, they're always there. So yeah, it's, there's different factors and what I like about the IT industry.
I think for me, I really, really enjoy building rapport and relationships with these potential clients. Whether we can help them now or 6 months down the road, I enjoy being able to pick up the phone, call them, have that relationship. I still have clients that I speak with from my old position back in Dallas.
Or Beacon Hill tradition. Do you have one that stands out to you from your office or from Beacon Hill company-wide?
I mean, the one that sticks out the most is our Christmas party where they fly everyone to Boston, where I'm at. The Christmas party is absolutely ginormous. They give out prizes, like they gave out 3 Pelotons last year, shopping sprees, wine for a year type of situation. The prizes are absolutely fantastic. But then the next day they rent out 3 bars, all within like walking distance right near the office. So it's just like a 2-3 day party with all of the divisions together. But around the same time, at least our office, we do a smaller, more intimate steak dinner at one of the restaurants around Boston. So it's nice to go from your small, intimate team that you know so well to kind of hang out with the whole company.
My favorite Beacon Hill tradition, or my favorite thing that I've been to was probably Rookie Club. It was such a fun experience. And now one of the recruiters on my team just made it, and another one is about to make it. It's an accolade for if you have no prior industry experience, and you go up to Boston for 2 days, and it's just it's usually a really small team. I think there were maybe 5 of us that went when I went. And it's just you and all of the managing directors from Beacon Hill. So the managing director of the legal division and the pharma division, and then the CEO, Andy Wang. So you get FaceTime with the CEO. We went to an amazing lunch at a restaurant on the water, and we had a box at a Red Sox game, and you just get to, it's just really fun. You spend time with people that you probably otherwise wouldn't really get to know, and they're usually kind of in this same. It's just exciting to see one person that I went with, her President's Club email just went out last week, so it's exciting to see the continued success of those people that you get to know on that trip as well.
How is Beacon Hill different from the past staffing firm that you worked at, and what encouraged you to make the move?
Sure. So, being new to staffing, there's a little avenues and things. And, I chose Beacon Hill because they have a lot of structure. And I think beginning of the staffing, you need structure to really understand, what's happening. So I definitely came to Beacon Hill because they have structure and the support. The support I get from a manager, and he's just always there for me, is something that I needed and I didn't previously get, which is really awesome. And of course, the jobs, and, Beacon Hill pulls different jobs from different clients, and super interesting, always keeping on your toes, what kind of industry you're going to, what kind of rack and what kind of job you're going to work from what industry and what company. So mixture of all that together is just really, really cool.
Personally, I did not receive the support, or I guess the communication with my previous employer either. So receiving all of this support, positivity, through not just at the management level, but really just through my team, my coworkers. I started off remote. So when you start off remote, obviously you don't meet anyone in person. So it's kind of different. And throughout the day, I FaceTime, I Zoom, I'm emailing, I'm texting with my team all throughout the day. And I think that's really important, especially starting off a new position. And also, I'm in a new industry. I used to be in the healthcare industry. So being in the accounting and finance industry, everything's different for me in terms of like terminology and kind of understanding what they do day to day. And so it's nice to have a supportive team, a boss. And I know when I'm assuming this is new through COVID, I'm not sure, but Beacon Hill sets up coffee chats. And these coffee chats are through different, 3 people a week. And you go through different, associates throughout the team, different colleagues. And that's also nice to do as well, because you get to meet other people.
One more question I got for you is that there may be some attendees on the call today that might not know exactly what they want to do when they graduate coming up this May or maybe in December. Maybe they're interested in business. If you could elaborate a little bit on why you would encourage people to look into not only staffing, but also why Beacon Hill, I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, so like why staffing and why Beacon Hill? I mean, I think a lot of what Julia and Chelsea and Jess and Sarah have said, over the past couple questions really expound on the fact of, why we all said we all kind of fell into this business. But we all have our own reasons on why we stayed in the business, whether it was from, just the competitive nature, or, building, long-term relationships. I've got clients here in Nashville that I've worked with, for 10 years now, through 2 different companies and through other scenarios. So they've seen me come here and, start in the business, and then, they saw me get married, or not get married, but they saw me have my first kid, my second kid, my third kid, and my fourth kid. So, you build these long-lasting relationships on the client side. And even though I am on the sales side from a client perspective, I still have long-lasting relationships on the recruiting side or on the candidate side. So there are candidates here in town that I've worked with, for 10 years now, and I know them as well as I would, know my best friend. So, all those little reasons kind of add up to why I've stayed in this business. But, to be kind of blunt with it, I mean, at this point, I stay in it because of the competitive nature, and then also because of Beacon Hill. I don't know of another firm in our industry that operates the way that we do. It goes to Andy, our CEO's mentality, where, he's told me point blank on more than one occasion that our best asset is our internal employees, where, what that tells me is that he knows, and the executive leadership knows, that the reason why we are as successful as we are as a company is because of the Jesses or the Sarahs or the Chelseas or the Julias that are day in and day out doing this job.
Sort of round things out, and then we'll have a Q&A here at the end. Just wanted to address why companies even use staffing firms to begin with. So Beacon Hill, we work with some clients from top Fortune 500 companies all the way down through startups. We connect with clients in various industries from real estate to nonprofits, law firms, banks, financial services, as well as marketing and advertising agencies, to name a few. But we take on the burden and the risk of a full-time employee, as these temporary and contract candidates are being paid through Beacon Hill as a W-2 employee. So if a candidate needs unemployment or benefits, that comes through Beacon Hill. This is always why, as a staffing consultant, you're continuously communicating with your candidates on contract, because you're essentially their manager, giving them updates and feedback, and even if you have to, unfortunately, firing candidates at times. Do you match candidates with the employer based off of their qualifications? If Chelsea, do you want to answer that one and just sort of talk about the process that you might go from getting a job opening or requirement from a client and sort of how we backtrack and find the candidate for that, what that process looks like?
In my situation, a law firm would contact me and say, it could be they have a paralegal going out on maternity leave and they need someone with bankruptcy, litigation experience to start in 2 days or in a week. So, and then I would ask, what kind of, how many years of experience do they need? What kind of software do they need to have experience with? How many hours per week will they be working? What are the hours? All of those questions, and then I would go and give them those qualifications, and then we have a database with all of our candidates in it, and so then they would go either to our database or to LinkedIn or Career Builder or Monster and recruit for the position and to find a qualified candidate. And so you're looking for someone who, has the right experience, who lives in the right area where they can make that commute, who is available. As the recruiter, you want to find out, do you have any vacations planned? How much are you looking for in terms of compensation? So answering all of those questions. And then I would take the resume back to the client, and then hopefully if the candidate's a good fit, then they would start on the assignment, and that's kind of how that would work.
Thank you. Yeah, keyword hopefully. Hopefully everything works out smoothly, and so there's a perfect fit right there. I love that, like, from the recruiting side of staffing, when you have that first call with a candidate, there's so much information you can cover. It's not just, hey, are you looking for a job, or what kinds of jobs are you looking for? But like you said, do you have any vacations coming up? How much money are you looking to make? What kind of a commute are you looking for from your house? There are just so many questions that go into placing someone in a job, and so much information that you can get from that first call. I seriously think it took me about 12 weeks to overall just fully understand how to cover all those bases on that first call. But thank you. So I got another question here. What would be your biggest piece of advice for someone interested? Answer that one. Like, for someone that's graduating college right now and looking into our different entry-level opportunities, what do you have a piece of advice for them?
Yeah, you kind of cut out just advice for applying through Beacon Hill.
Sorry, yeah. A piece of advice that you would have for someone that is in their senior year right now, graduating in May and interested in getting into staffing.
Yeah, definitely. So first of all, after this, definitely reach out and let us know that you're interested. But I think just during the interview process, to talk about being driven, somewhat competitive, organized. Being organized is really important in this line of business. You talk to so many people every day. To remember who you're talking to take the right notes, kind of like what Sam was saying. You ask so many questions about like what's important to them. Is it commute? Is it money? Is it work-life balance? So organization is a huge part of it. So whether you've had an internship, maybe you played on a sports team, whatever that transferable skill is, it's mostly about being able to talk to people at the end of the day. So being able to talk about what you've done in your life that could transfer over, or just maybe you didn't have internships, maybe that wasn't in the cards for you, maybe you did something, maybe you volunteered somewhere, or just come prepared to talk out your experience, be personable, ask the right questions, show that you're listening really well. Follow up is really important in this line of business. So following up with whoever you're interviewing with is always important. And I think that's pretty much all the advice.
Reach out to me directly. If you have any questions, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Hopefully everyone got to hear some great perspectives and enjoyed hearing a little bit more about all of our Alabama's alumni, the experiences, and what got them interested in Beacon Hill, and how graduating from Alabama set them up for success. But I definitely just want to say thank you so much to Joe, Chelsea, Julia, Jess, and Sarah. I really appreciate y'all taking some time out of your day to attend this virtual panel, and thank you to our attendees. So I hope that you all have a great rest of your semester, a great rest of your football season. And if you have any questions, like I said, feel free to reach out directly. But thank you all so much.